Have you ever walked away from a conversation and thought, why did I act like that? Or why didn't I just say what I meant? Or maybe why do I feel so tired after hanging out with people I like? If so, you're not alone. As ADHD women, many of us are master maskers. Performers, really, even though it's tends to be subconscious, playing roles we think others want to see, something we started at a very young age and oftentimes do without even realizing that we're doing it. And the cost? We lose out on the most important part of relationships, being seen and accepted for who we really are. Today, we're going to talk about what masking looks like in friendships and intimate relationships, why we do it, how it holds us back, and what it might look like to find a better balance. So, let me take you back. I was so afraid of being different growing up and being teased that I subconsciously masked who I was. I tried to act normal to fit in, but here's the kicker. I still got teased and eventually rejected anyway. Not for who I was, but for who I was sort of pretending to be, even though it was kind of outside my awareness that I was doing it. And even more heartbreaking, I missed out on people who might have been real friends, people who could have loved the real me if only I had let her show up. And honestly, the effort to constantly monitor, adjust, and edit myself, and not to mention all of the spiraling after, was exhausting. I ended up anxious, depressed, and burned out, not because I was broken, but because I was hiding. And I see this same pattern in so many of my clients. Women looking back at years of feeling like outsiders, and younger women who are still trying to navigate friendships where they never quite feel at ease. And here's where things get tricky. Masking might help us survive socially to some degree, but it keeps us from ever really, truly connecting. It keeps us from belonging. You can't find your people if your people never meet the real you. In friendships, masking often looks like over explaining, people pleasing, or staying quiet even when we have something important to say. Or if you're anything like me, it takes you a while to say something that's really aligned. So you just talk because it's what comes out of you and then think about it for a long time later. We may mimic other people's social rhythms just to blend in. We laugh at things that maybe we don't find funny. We even nod when we're confused or hurt. Sound familiar? But the truth is, friendship isn't supposed to be a performance art. It's supposed to be a space where you can exhale, where your weirdness is welcomed, where you're not managing your tone, your facial expressions, or your story structure just to be understood. And here's another layer: neurotypical communication styles. Neurotypical folks often take turns speaking in a linear way. Meanwhile, ADHDers tend to communicate in circles with each other through shared storytelling, interrupting with excitement, or hopping topics because everything feels connected. So when we're unmasked, it can still feel hard because the people around us may not get our way of being. They may criticize us for interrupting or give us stares like we're rude or even tell us we are. And that can feel just as isolating. This is especially true in workplaces or environments where we can't choose who we interact with. We end up code switching between our true selves and what the environment demands. So let's talk about intimate relations for a sec. In my 20s, I dated someone for 5 years, got married, and we divorced within just over a year. Why? Because I hadn't truly been myself in the relationship. In fact, at that point, I don't even know if I knew who myself was because I'd been masking for so long just to fit in. I had masked so thoroughly that he never really knew me. And to be honest, like I was saying, at that point, neither did I. And after that, until I fully embraced my unmasked self, I kept attracting people who weren't for me. In fact, oftentimes people who were mean or rejected me, or even were hurtful. But how could they be attracted to me? Because they were drawn to the version of me that I was presenting as in those interactions, who I thought I was kind of at that point. So, yeah, masking might help us get relationships, but it doesn't help us get the right ones and certainly not find lasting connection and belonging. So, then what do we do? If you're done masking, you might be ready to do some healing. You might be grieving relationships that weren't what you needed. You might be rediscovering parts of yourself you buried to fit in. And that's okay. That's a powerful place to start. If you're still masking, maybe because you're craving connection, I get that too. Sometimes masking feels necessary, especially at work, especially if you're not in a place where you can fully choose your environment. There's no shame in doing what you need to do to survive. But if you're always masking, people never get to meet you, the real you. And eventually, like me, you might feel like no one understands you because no one's ever actually met you. And maybe you've lost touch with who that is too. So, this isn't a black and white answer. I know we like things to be solved with a do this and you'll feel better. This is about balance, as is often true for things. So, it's about learning where it feels safe to unmask, building relationships that allow you to practice being your full self, and perhaps those will be your circle of close knit friends, and then finding community where you're not too much, you're just enough. Whether you're just starting to peel back the layers or you've already said goodbye to your mask, remember this: you're not too sensitive. You're not too loud or too emotional or too spacey or too intense or too much. You are exactly the right amount of you, and the right people will love you for it. If you're craving spaces where you don't have to translate all the time, if you're craving spaces where you don't have to translate yourself all the time, if you're tired of hiding in plain sight, I invite you to start small. One unmasked moment, one honest conversation, one connection that feels real. And if you're looking for support on the path, check out the link below to join my community of ADHD women or learn more about how I work with ADHD women just like you. If this video spoke to something deep inside you, I'd love it if you'd like, comment, or subscribe. It actually helps more ADHD women find content that actually gets them. So let me know below in the comments, where have you felt the impact of masking the most? And where are you learning to take off that mask? Sending you love, energy, and full permission to show up as your real, radiant self. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.